Hi guys, it's Mr. Dominguez from the EEC, and in this portion of your virtual field trip, I will be talking to you guys about the effects of heating and cooling on the properties of matter with my helper here, this Leachianus gecko. Um, and this Leachianus gecko happens to be the biggest species of gecko in the entire world. And you may be wondering, why does Mr. Dominguez have this pretty mean looking lizard as his helper? Well, she's a cold-blooded creature. So what does that mean? Well, that means that her body cannot produce her own heat like ours can. So if you just touch your cheek, you'll feel some warmth. Now, if I were to touch her, she feels kind of cold at the moment. Not so cold because I've been holding her and some of my heat has been transferring over to her body. But this poor little creature is very dependent on the outside warmth that she gets from her environment, mostly from the sun. Now, why did I choose her? Well, out of all the creatures that I have, I like her the best because she likes to jump and she can't stand still. I know your teachers know all about that sometimes, but I just find her to be cute. Now, I think also she would be very appreciative of all things heating and all things cooling. Well, maybe not the cooling part. So in this demonstration, I'm going to be applying some heat to some, not lychee, but to some abiotic, that means non-living things, like crayons, a stick of butter, and some chocolate to see what happens to their properties. Now, how am I going to be doing that? Well, I'm going to apply some heat in the form of fire. And right after I apply that heat with the help of lychee, maybe not, maybe I'll have to put her up, I am going to cool them down with some compressed air. You guys hear that air? Did you guys just see lychee fly off? Now I think I'm gonna put her up so I can begin my demonstration. Now, if you ever have a classmate that is disrupting learning, tell your teacher, and your teacher will put them away in their enclosure. I'm just kidding. That won't happen. Don't do it, teachers. Anyway, stay tuned. All right, guys, I am back. I've put up the lychee and I'm ready to go. So remember, I'm going to demonstrate what is going to happen to 3 items: chocolate, butter, and a Crayola when I apply heat to them. And then after heating them, I am going to cool them down. And we are going to observe what happens to the properties of matter. Now, acuérdense amigos que en este experimento les voy a demostrar qué ocurre cuando aplico calor a 3 cosas: a un pedazo de chocolate, a un pedazo de mantequilla y a un pedazo de Crayola. Si quieren, tomen un momento y escriban lo que piensan que va a ocurrir cuando estas 3 cosas se calientan. So if you'd like to make a guess as to what's going to happen when these things are heated, go ahead and pause the video and write those guesses down, because I already see some changes happening. As you can see, the butter is already changing. The chocolate doesn't seem like it's changing, but I see the very edges doing something very interesting. The Crayola hasn't changed. I may have to apply a little bit more heat to it. So remember, we are observing what is happening to these items. And remember, all of these items were solids. The chocolate was brown, the butter was yellow, and it was kind of soft, but it was still a solid. And the Crayola was definitely a solid, and it was very hard, and it had a very smooth texture, but it was definitely a solid. Now I can already see something happening to the butter. Can you guys see that? ¿Pueden ver lo que está pasando a la mantequilla? Se está derritiendo, ¿verdad? It's melting, isn't it? The butter's melting. Now, the Crayola isn't melting at all, so we might have to give it a little bit of help. So let's give it a little bit of help in the form of a blowtorch. Let's see. Do we see anything happening to it? I do. It's melting, isn't it? It's definitely melting. It melted. Now, I am willing to bet that if I kind of move my hand around here where the chocolate is, I'm pretty sure that it already began melting. Entonces, estoy observando que mis 3 pedazos de materia se han derritido. They've turned into a liquid, haven't they? Mis 3 pedazos de materia se han convertido a un líquido. Y también puedo ver que la mantequilla se ha convertido un poquito más transparente en color. So what I'm noticing too is a change in the butter's color. So the color of the butter used to be more of a very solid yellow. Now it's more of a very clear, see-through, yellow still, but more see-through color. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow out my candles. Le voy a soplar a mis velas. Feliz cumpleaños, ¿verdad? Feliz cumpleaños a esta materia. Happy birthday to this matter. And I'm going to cool it down. I'm going to cool everything down using a little bit of compressed air. Now, as you can see, the crayon already turned back into a solid very, very quickly. Now, these 2 other pieces of matter, the chocolate and the butter, may take more time, so I may have to take them to the refrigerator to help things speed up a bit. But I can already see the butter's color turn back into that original yellow. Entonces, enfriando a mis 3 pedazos de materia, puedo ver que se están convirtiendo otra vez a sólidos. Now, I am going to take these to the refrigerator, so we're not here using this compressed air all day long, right? And it might take us too long to do that. So, we'll be back. And what do you guys think is going to happen to the matter? So is it going to turn back into a solid? And I have another interesting question. What if I just kept these 3 pieces of matter, you know, just heating up and heating up and heating up? What do you guys think would happen? That's another very good question to kind of discuss among yourselves. Okay, so I'll be back. I'm going to put these things in the refrigerator, and we'll see what happens to them next. So as you can see, all of the items that I melted and turned into a liquid turned into a solid. There's that crayon. So solid, solid. Now, the shape did change, however. So the chocolate that was once a square, after I melted it, took the shape of the container, and so did the butter. Now, I'm sure that if the crayon had melted some more, the same thing would have happened. So, what observations did you make about heating and cooling, and how do those things change the properties of matter? Thank you guys, and I can't wait to see you guys for our next virtual field trip.